Okay, all this stuff on the right is NVA, North Vietnamese Army. I have every uniform now. The average Vietnam veteran now is about 71, 72 years old. And every year, especially around Christmas, they give me phone calls. They're moving, they're getting a divorce, they need money, they want to sell everything, and I always buy that stuff. And I don't even chew them down. This is a brought back AK-47. That's a Tokarev 9mm handgun. This is the pajamas they wore and the rice paddy hat. In the daytime, they were farmers. At night, warriors. We used to call them gooks. This is the average size of the gook right over here. They were only 13, 14, 17, 18-year-old kids. They would never face you and fight you. They would always have booby traps or ambushes. This is a brought back AK-47 too. These are the good guys, Saigon. This is the camouflage uniform, the dress uniform, the sailor uniform, and the tiger uniform. And that's a brought back SKS made in China. They'd fight over there like cavemen. See, they'd have bows and arrows, crossbows, spears. If a gook had an AK-47, it was like an American guy having an M60 machine gun. You know, it was really special. Normally, they just have bayonets, machetes. They'd stick the arrows in poison, and they try to, shoot the Americans with it, so they, get a disease. Okay, we're going to come around a turn here. I got every World War II radio from 1941 to 45. Let's see, if you could keep everybody here, I got to put the other lights on.
How big is the AK-47's back?
What's that?
How big is the AK-47's back?
Well, because I'm it's like a dealer sample. I was lucky to get that dealer sample. Because after 1986, you can't give any full autos back. So I had to ship to a person I knew, and then it was shipped to me when I got my license.
Oh, okay.
That was smart, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, this is World War II radios. I'm not a radio guy, but I bet you 80% of these probably still work. I got radios from the Marines, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. And this is the SOS transmitter. That's pretty hard to find. And this raft was put in the B-24s, the B-17s, the B-25 bombers. And if you went down in the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean, you were told to strap that SOS signal transmitter to your waist. So if you hit a wave, it won't pop out of the raft. And in those tubes, for 72 years, they're packed. They never unpacked them. I got the balloon that holds the 200-foot wire, which acts as a antenna, or the kite. You could put the kite together with the wire, and you hook it up to the transmitter. But my history book says this type of transmitter would only put out a signal 35 to 40 miles, which is nothing in the ocean. Yep. This is the World War II generator that puts out 6 volts, and the soldier would sit on there and go about this RPM, and it would put out enough juice to run all these radios. Over here, this is every woman's uniform, 1941 to 45. If you were in the Marines, the Army, the Navy, Civil Defense, or the Red Cross, you would have had one of these uniforms on. There's a picture of my mom. That was her last birthday cake, 89 years old. I told her not to eat it. She knows I always kid around. This is, unfortunately, that's a picture of her wearing her nurse's uniform. See over there? Unfortunately, she threw that away. But Martha, she has a picture of her wearing that uniform, and there's Betty wearing that uniform, and Betty's husband, George, is over here. See, and he's wearing his uniform. I got George's footlocker here. And in his footlocker, I was really surprised to find his USO records. These are 38 RPM, and see, back then they didn't have cell phones or a recorder. So they go to the USO and make a record like this, and they mail this back to America, and they could put it on, their 38 RPM record player and hear what their loved one has to say. Then after about a week or two, they throw them away. That's why they're so hard to find. So I was lucky to get 2 of them in George's footlocker. Yep. This is my dad's memorial. His name was Kermit. See, and he was a bombardier over Germany. This was his bombardier outfit. See it up there? And with all that fur lining and the coat and the shoes, everything with fur in it, he said they're still freezing up there because back then they didn't have any pressurized cabins. These were his flight helmets and his honorable discharge. And these were the last clothes Kermit was wearing. He was 92 years old. And now he's very, very popular. When he was alive, nobody wanted to talk to him. Yeah, Kermit's very popular. So my mom died first. See, this is my dad looking at my mom's memorial. You see that? And then a couple months later, he passed away. Cancer. Yeah. The average World War II veteran now, you know, they're like 94 years old already. I heard there's like 300, 400, 500 a day dying now. Yeah, unfortunately.
Was he in the 15th or 8th?
What?
Was he in the 15th or 8th?
No, oh, the 8th. Yep. In fact, I have his uniform. I should put that in here. Okay, this is the Liberator handgun. See that? This was on the Discovery Channel about 6, 7 months ago. Did you see that? The Chevy company, GMC, in 1944, made 1 million of these in 7 months for the U.S. government to throw out of the airplanes over Belgium, France, and Germany in that cardboard box with these instructions so people could liberate their country. The idea was to grab a gun, put 145 bullet in there, it would only shoot one at a time, and read those instructions, how to use it, wait for a German to pass, shoot him in the head, get his equipment, and liberate your country. So it was nicknamed the Liberator handgun. It cost the Americans 80 cents to make those. They're worth $2,500 to $3,000 if you could find one at a gun show. Luckily, I have 3 of them. See that? I paid $500 just for the box that holds the gun. The box is harder to find than the gun. You know. Okay, we're going to go into the next room here. Everything in the next room is World War II. See? There's Dad when he got out of the service.
15th Air Force B-17.
Oh, yeah? Wow. Oh, yeah? Oh, you ever want to sell it? Oh, okay. I put a picture of him wearing a uniform. Tell everybody.
Shoot, okay. He's like an airborne officer. Did all 4 combat jobs.
Wow.
I got all of his combat trips.
Oh, really?
From Sicily,
Wow.
Anzio, Market Garden. He was a captain
Oh, yeah?
in headquarters.
Oh, that's it. Oh. Yeah, come on in. You like everything? Pretty good for one guy. Good collection, huh?
Yeah.
How did you start? I started with my Discover card. Oh, you buy a few things, hang it up, and then, you know, one thing led to another. I already extended this building 19 times. It's never big enough. I get stuff almost every week now. Unfortunately, the World War II guys, you know, are passing away, and I have a 1-page ad in the Worldwide Military magazine that I buy this stuff. I'm getting calls like all the time. You know. Okay, that's the D-Day mannequin, the way they came off the landing craft, June 6, 1944. See, they have the M5 gas mask on. See the patch on his right arm? That's the gas patch. And in that cover there, the plastic bag, is his M1 carbine, so salt water won't get on it. That's the way they came off the landing craft. All the stuff on the pegboard is from the 10th Mountain Division. This is every shoe and every boot in the show cabinet with the original dated shoe polish they wore in 1938 to 45. This is mostly my mom's medic equipment right here. She told me all about it. In fact, this is her first aid kit that she never used, 1945. Brand new. See that? And she said, you know, if they can't, if your fingers, your arm, your legs get squashed, broken bones, everything, they have to cut it off. They use that saw. If they could put the bones back together, they use that drill with the stainless steel pins, and they try to pin it back together, and they wrap it around with that mesh and get you to the hospital. I have World War II morphine up here, never used. If I wasn't a legal museum, I couldn't have morphine because it's a drug. See that? And over here, this is all the personal stuff in these 3 cabinets they would have had in their backpack. That's every